Good morning and welcome back into the NFL Combine. Tom Downey here for Chat Sports. As promised, we're taking a look at the day one winners and losers from the Combine. Long list of winners, shorter list of names, and I'm not getting to everyone in the end. Let's begin positively. One of the biggest winners of the first day, at least testing-wise, Nolan Smith, the Georgia edge rusher, put up fantastic numbers at this year's Combine. Shout out to my guy Math Bomb for his awesome graphics and relative athletic score testing. Oh, so important there. 6'2" and 2 and a quarter, I should say, 238. Look at the explosion numbers. Look at the speed. 41.5-inch vertical, a 4.39 40-yard dash. All of those numbers were wildly impressive for Nolan Smith. He'd been in our first-round mock drafts, not everybody's, but he's for sure going to be going forward. Undersized still, but you're thinking Hassan Reddick here. Calijah Kancey next up, another obvious winner, the Pitt defensive lineman. Really did test like Aaron, although I think Ed Oliver might be a better, more realistic comp there. 4.67 40-yard dash. Now, he's still undersized, both weight, and the word producer Sam doesn't like when I say it, but he's light in the pants, and he does have short arms. Both of those are still significant factors. Now, we're just doing the defensive linemen and linebackers today because that's all who's done their testing so far. We will have more NFL Combine winners for you each morning. Hit that subscribe button right now. All right, so make sure I try to pronounce the name right. Adebawore, the defensive lineman from Northwestern, or excuse me, Adebawore, excuse me. Awesome production for an undersized defensive tackle / defensive end. 282. This is his defensive end comparison for RAS. He still would count as a defensive tackle, still elite numbers there. 4.49 40-yard dash at 282. Is pretty freaking stupid. Great vert, great broad. Not the most household name? Now he might be. Jack Campbell, the linebacker from Iowa, next up here. The initial 40-yard dash time was not that great. It did come in at 4.65 officially, which is above average. And when you throw in elite numbers in the shuttle, not that many players did shuttle or three-cone. Campbell of the way of all the defensive players so far. That, of course, will change once cornerbacks get out there. 6'4" and over a half, 249, 37.5-inch vert. The broad was awesome. This is off the charts testing. I mean, you can do the percentile stuff. We're talking 99th percentile here for Jack Campbell. That was awesome production. Not the only Iowa player who stepped up, by the way, but we'll get to some more winners. But I want to hear from you guys. If you're like me, you have no life, and you watch the drills because that's fun. Pick your biggest Combine winner from day one. It's the pinned comment on today's video. So if an ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know your biggest Combine winner. Let's go to Oklahoma's Jalen Redmond, producer Sam's boy. Now, the medical still has to get sorted out there. That is significant. On the lighter side for defensive tackles, 6'2", 291, but 34.5-inch vert. 4.81 40-yard dash, a 7.33 cone, which was the best of among the non-linebackers, at least, or I should say the defensive tackles. Redmond, medical will know more about. That will determine his Combine real winner or loser stuff, but the things that we can know, awesome showing. Another Iowa player who wasn't a starter, although he played starter snaps mostly, so it still counts. Lukas Van Ness, the defensive end out of Iowa. The vertical was not very good, and that kind of raised some uh-ohs. 31-inch vert there. The broad was better at 272, 6'5", and change, by the way. He's almost 6'6". Awesome short area drills, the three-cone, the shuttle, 4.58 40. Lukas Van Ness, as expected, did test as a premier athlete. Isaiah Foskey, next up here, the Notre Dame edge rusher. And I was very curious how he was going to test. He did everything. I will make note you've seen no bench numbers. The bench will be done today. They pushed that back in an effort to get more players to end up doing the bench. 6'5", 264, a 4.58 40 was awesome time. Still a bit better of a straight line athlete than a bender. You can see that in the agility scores, but he does have the burst and the speed you're looking for. 10-yard split wasn't as good, which is very interesting. But overall, a very strong showing for Isaiah Foskey, keeping himself in that back end of round one conversation. Today's NFL Daily is sponsored by Athletic Greens. I take AG1 by Athletic Greens literally every day. Get comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition at athleticgreens.com/chatsports. I gave AG1 a try because I wanted better gut health and a supplement that actually tastes great. I take AG1 in the morning, and it makes me feel ready to take on my day. Once I got my kid set up with her breakfast, I make my own AG1. I don't feel the need for caffeine in the morning anymore, and I feel energized throughout the day. Plus, AG1 empowers the gut for whole body health. Covering my nutritional bases for the day literally couldn't be any easier, which is why I trust Athletic Greens. I mix one small scoop of AG1 with water and drink it first thing each morning. Done just like that, and I like that it costs less than $3 a day, which is pretty good, if you ask me. If a really effective daily habit with the highest quality source ingredients is what you want, if you want that comprehensive solution, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Perfect if you're on the road in, say, Indianapolis. Go to athleticgreens.com/chatsports. That's athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Let's go to the Tennessee version of Byron Young. The edge rusher is undersized. He is still a bit older, but really great athletic numbers here. In general, you want your guys to be top-end athletes because that's just a better success rate, right? 4.4340 is still on the lighter side. The thing I like about RAS, it's relative, takes in size and weight. So overall, good numbers there for Byron Young. Yet another edge rusher from the SEC. That's Derick Hall from Auburn, who put up strong numbers, right? Still undersized, 6'2" and change, 254, but a 4.57 40-yard dash. Really good arm length, too, 34.5 inches. Not everyone turned in the big arms like, the Tyree Wilson and Zach Harrison's did. But overall, good showing from Derick Hall. Let's go to Bryan Bresee, the defensive tackle from Clemson. I think he needed a strong combine because the film had been kind of middling, and he turned in a very strong combine. 4.86 40-yard dash at 6'5.5", 298. Not the biggest defensive tackle, but he did perform very well. The vert was not the best, but the straight line speed was absolutely there. I think Bresee's in that kind of mid to late round 1 conversation. Maybe drops to round 2. It depends on how impressive he ends up being there. So Bresee, I thought, fared pretty well, all things considered. Let me know in the comment section if you think he goes in round 1. Y for yes, N for no. Another defensive tackle who needed that strong showing, Gervon Dexter out of Florida. Giant human being, which is always a good thing, I believe. 6'6", 310, had some extra change tacked on there. 4.88 40-yard dash, great explosion numbers in the vert and the broad. The 3-cone was good enough. So Dexter's, again, the performance has not been there. The athletic upside is, however. Let's go to some linebackers here beyond Jack Campbell. Owen Pappoe out of Auburn. So, again, a lot of SEC guys, the freaks, right? He is undersized. He's not the biggest guy out there. 6 foot and a quarter, 225, but a 4.39 40-yard dash that is crazy fast at linebacker, even if the turf is juiced again this year. Great vert, great broad, day 2-ish, maybe early day 3. Pappoe checks off that box. Now, Trenton Simpson is still angling to be a first-round pick when it's all said and done. That is the linebacker out of Clemson. Didn't do that much testing, so no math bomb scorecard here, but 4.43 40-yard dash checks off the boxes. DeMarvion Overshown, the linebacker from Texas. Again, undersized linebacker at 229, a 10.04 broad, and a 4.56 40-yard dash. The size speed isn't maybe quite what people were hoping for, but it did put up quality numbers in the end. I'm going to cheat for my final winner, pick 2 Louisville guys who probably weren't on many radars, at least casually. Linebacker Yasir Abdullah and defensive end Yaya Diaby both put up awesome numbers. Diaby put up one of the better defensive end overall scores you'll see. So both players really helped their draft stocks. Before we get to our losers, someone who stayed more neutral, I think, is outside linebacker, edge rusher prospect Will Anderson. The numbers were fine. The 4.6 40-yard dash is good enough at his time. It's not like the obscene freakiness time, but it is good enough. And in light of the Jalen Carter stuff, I think he's still, for most who had him, top defensive player, if not top overall player in this year's draft. On to the loser side, and although he did not test, how can you not put Jalen Carter in here, right? It's unfortunate for Carter, everything that's gone on. He was at Indy, did some team interviews the day of his media availability, about 25 minutes before he was set to speak. It's revealed there's an arrest warrant out for him in Georgia, so he packs up, he leaves the combine. Now, he did come back. He was on the field, helped kind of cheering on, I guess, teammates, we'll call them, at the combine with drills. But he did not do anything he wasn't going to anyway. But now you throw in the very real character stuff, and all of a sudden it's, where does he go? That's a bit uncertain at this point. So who will be the first defender drafted this year? Still think it's probably going to be either Jalen Carter or Tyree Wilson. Or not Tyree Wilson, Will Anderson, excuse me. Tyree Wilson did not test. I was going to mention that. Neither did Miles Murphy, who came in with baby hands too. 8.5 inches, not a great sign there. But he did make our losers list, though and he would have tested great, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. First defender drafted. Sound off in the comments section. Let's go to Andre Carter, the edge rusher from Army. Look, Army's program is not built to contain very good just programs for weightlifting and everything. 6'6.5", 256. Arm length was not as long as I thought it was going to be. 30-inch vert, 901 broad are both very poor. Did do the short shuttle, 4.36. That was good, but no 40-yard dash, and athletically, it's not what you're hoping for testing-wise at all. Zach Harrison, this one is more I am the loser because he would have crushed it. Zach Harrison tweaked a hamstring, was not able to go. He would have put up bonkers numbers at the combine this year. It's a damn shame he could not test. Defensive lineman now, Siaki Ika. And in general, your as I call them, the fatties on the interior, the defensive line, they're not normally going to test well, especially when you're 6'3" and change and 335. But all of the numbers were still pretty darn poor. The 3-cone wasn't that bad for Iaka, which I think kind of checked out when he was doing the hoop drill too. But I still think he's a little bit heavier than maybe he should be, or at least it's impacted him too much athletically. I was hoping for if he could have gotten into a 4 on the RAS instead of a 2, I would have felt better. Who is the biggest NFL Combine loser of day one? Sound off for me in the comments section. Let me know which prospect, unfortunately, disappointed you the most. Let's go to Mike Morris, Michigan. I've put up here his defensive end comparable, so you can adjust by position there. It's not good. It's under 4. Great size, 6'5", 275, but 4.95 is not good enough, along with the explosion, to be, I think, a true defensive end. So for a guy who mostly played edge at Michigan, I think, at least this past year, I think he's going to have to kick inside. That does raise concerns for me long term. Finally, Jaquelin Roy, the defensive tackle out of LSU. Didn't do the 40, only agility drills, and they were bad. Another bigger body defensive lineman who just doesn't have the juice you're hoping for, unfortunately.